Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Geeking Out podcast. I am the Athletic Geek, and this is 1 year of the Geeking Out podcast. It was a year ago that my guest this week, Charloco, and our friend Ann, we did the our build up to All In 4-part special, and to celebrate 1 year of the Geeking Out podcast, we are going to do a watch along of the Mark Hitchcock Memorial Supershow from WrestleCon New York City in 2019, the last time we all got to hang out. Thank you, COVID. And this is a very interesting show because, well, one, it was the first show that we all collectively saw that weekend, and it was a good way to kind of kick off WrestleMania weekend. And it's such an eclectic group of talent, and apparently there was a lot that went into the show, a lot that was supposed to go into this show, and a lot that almost didn't happen with this show, but we'll mention as we go along. But, Charloco is my guest this week. We're reliving that fun but exhausting weekend, and we'll be referring to stories. Before we get started...
Yes, I was about to say myself, just with the amount of volume of how much wrestling we watched that weekend live, I'm pretty sure I will not remember most of this now that we're actually watching it.
Of course. Maybe I have an eidetic memory when it comes to stupid shit that I'm not supposed to remember. Remember where I put things that are important for my household or for my job or things like that. I'll forget, but hey, what I was thinking and walking through the line to meet so and so before this show. Sure, I can tell you everything about that. But this show is available if you'd like to watch along with us on the High Spots Wrestling app. It is under the Mark Hitchcock Memorial Super Show. I have pulled it up. I am staring at the intro screen, which is a Masato Tanaka versus Eddie Kingston, which was the first contest. So that's what I'm staring at. So get pulled up, get to that point.
And I was just going to bring up to people as a little treat for everybody. I actually have pulled up from WrestleCon's Twitter around March of last year, I guess, once during when the COVID stuff was really hitting and everything was closing. They did a live stream of this show, and on their Twitter, they pretty much spilled the tea on the entire event, including matches that were the original matches that they had penciled in weeks ago, prior to the show, pretty much how they all, in one way or another, fell apart or changed. To my knowledge, I think only one or two matches that were penciled in kind of stayed what they were.
Really?
They were all pretty much all had to change due to various different reasons or just things that happened on the fly. Right from the very beginning, which I'll mention once we start.
All right.
But yes,
we'll get started. So we hope you have are spending the best $9.99 in the business and have this app. We hope you're staring at this screen. If you'd like to watch along with us, and by watch along I mean listen to us really go off on a bunch of tangents about the weekend while casually referring to some of the action, go ahead and press play now. So I will have to say I was pretty excited when they got to this point right now where they had Masato Tanaka, because I'd never seen Tanaka in person at this point, and I'd always he was one. Him and Liger were kind of the first two Japanese wrestlers that I'd ever really became familiar with in my life. There's Eddie Kingston, who I had just met actually the Sunday before this. He was at a Glory Pro Wrestling anniversary show in Belleville, Illinois, and I went to that and met the Lucha Bros and Eddie Kingston. And I've shared this story before, but at that show, I was in line to meet the Lucha Bros, and I see Eddie Kingston, and I kind of try and ask him, hey, can I get a picture real quick? He goes, yeah, sure, just 1 second, though. And he goes, hey, Phoenix! He wants a picture with me! I got fans! So that's my that's one of my go-to Eddie Kingston stories. He was always a regular part of Glory Pro at that time, and I'd always see him at the shows. He was actually the Glory Pro champion, but I could never. He never set up his gimmick table. He just kind of there, and I'd never been able to like catch him and anything like that. So I'm like, yep, I'm taking it. And Eddie was cool.
Yeah.
And there's Masato Tanaka, which
Crazy thing.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, but I was just gonna say crazy thing about like the 2 years that Eddie Kingston had following this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, he was. I remember watching a special on finding on YouTube, and I wish I favorited it or could have found it, but like there was he was contemplating quitting the business for a while. Like he was very seriously thinking like, okay, I'm done now, and then one thing led to another, and obviously AEW coming through is great because now I mean I know he was in Impact, but Impact just didn't and still doesn't have the audience that AEW has had. So now we're kind of actually seeing, a national scale for Eddie Kingston, who was kind of one could say the best kept secret in wrestling for quite some time.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I remember, and you're gonna refer more to this as this goes on, but like I remember the big thing heading into this show. Well, before we even get into that part of it, do you remember what it was that got the three of us to want to go to this one? I know, like it's kind of like, hey, we're all coming in on a Thursday, and I know our seats aren't going to be together for the Garden or for and didn't even go to WrestleMania, so not saying that's good or bad. I'm saying she didn't feel the need to go to WrestleMania, and I can't say other than it being a bucket list, and I did enjoy the show, I don't blame somebody for not wanting to be at that stadium for 8 hours. So this is like kind of like, hey, what shows can we go see together? Because I don't know, what was it that made us pick this one? Because there was such a plethora of shows. Do you remember what it was?
Well, they announced a lot of things going on. I think one of them was pretty much once Liger announced his retirement, they confirmed that he was going to be on the show. I think he was originally going to be a surprise, like not announced ahead of time. But once I think that was one of the things that were like, okay, let's try and plan, like all of us going to this show since it'll be by the time we all kind of the two of us like landed in Jersey.
Yeah. And the one thing I remember is when Liger announced his retirement, and I remember WrestleCon putting out there that Liger was going to be on one of the shows, but they didn't announce a meet and greet, and I remember just like tweeting at High Spots. So now I know I'm tweeting it either at Michael or Jake, one of the two. Please do a meet and greet. I will pay top dollar for this meet and greet. You will get money from me. Yeah, that was it. It was like, I don't know who this athletic geek guy is, but he says he's going to give us money.
Yeah. But no, also I think the fact
that they know how much money I would be giving him over the course of this year.
And I think that was it too. The fact that they announced like the only Liger meet and greet they had to be doing, like how that WrestleCon would be doing that weekend was going to be like before the show.
Right. Yeah.
But
it's really funny because he did this, and then he was part of the. They kind of had two different meet and greets for the New Japan talent going on the following day. They had the one before the Rev Pro show, and then they had one like going on at Madison Square Garden, where it had they pretty well split the talent. It was like at the one that we went to, there was Suzuki, which was Tanahashi, Shibata, Ishii, Sho and Yo, but I didn't meet them. Yeah, that's a hell of a tornado DDT. I'm still surprised that Masato Tanaka isn't keeled over from CTE, and I'm not trying to make light of that, but I'm just saying just going back and watching the shit that he was doing in FMW. I kind of got more into FMW throughout the COVID summer,
Yeah.
And
Are you
seeing
looking
that,
forward to the Dark Side of the Ring episode?
absolutely, because shout out to Bahu FMW. He's I think he's going to be part of it, and he was a guest on this show, and
Oh,
really
nice.
good. He has a great podcast. Go check out his channel and check out his social media. He truly is the American historian of FMW wrestling, and subsequently like the uh things that spun out of FMW. He's got a whole podcast, promotions that kind of took FMW's place. The Current Freedoms promotion, Big Japan. Like he's
Hmm.
very the work what he knows about all that is top notch, and I believe he was at least consulted. Um, don't quote me on that, but like I do remember sending him a tweet and him kind of giving me a vague "we'll see" kind of thing,
Yeah.
So who knows? But definitely excited about that. But
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
So the original lineup for this match was going to be Masato Tanaka. He was going to be facing. I'm not quite familiar with him, but Aja Dragunov. I believe he's in NXT UK right now.
yeah, I'm not familiar with him.
Yeah.
I
But that.
mean, much at all.
Yeah.
It's. I'll concede. Other than I'm not on the up and up with NXT UK. I am.
Neither am I. But that fell apart, and then originally Jeff Cobb was. Then after that, Jeff Cobb was penciled in. But then it just eventually came to Eddie Kingston, because I guess he really kind of like happened, and I guess he has Kingston has good relationships with High Spot, so they wanted to do it for him. So that's why I'm like
That's
hoping.
good.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm hoping this
I'm not.
leads to eventually we can do this again with Eddie Kingston and Jun Akiyama at an eventual WrestleCon show.
Oh, that'd be sweet. I would go to WrestleCon for that. Not taking anything away from Eddie Kingston, because he's really keeping the thing with Eddie Kingston. I'm a huge Eddie Kingston fan, but it's like he's either like kind of really good or really bad.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I don't mean that bad way, but like this match, he's keeping up really, really well with Tanaka.
Yeah.
But like compare this to like his match with Mox at Revolution, and it's just like night and day difference. And you'd think he'd have a better match with Moxley, but you know what I mean? I will say this, point blank. I am a big Eddie Kingston fan. Do not take this as me slighting Eddie Kingston. It's kind of his strength's not really always in his wrestling, but like when he is good in wrestling, he's damn good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. And also, they had to do some more changes because this wasn't going to be the opener. It was originally going to be a Lucha Brothers tag team match, but I'll bring up their opponents later. But those opponents like could not get to the show in time, so they had to stall a bit. On top of the fact that they're already stalling on the live feed because I guess the medic ambulance that's like were legally required to be there for the show by commission not arrived yet. That's why
the same thing happened later in 2019 to a New Japan show in NYC.
Huh?
Yeah, they like installed that. Yeah, I believe
that New York traffic
or something or other. Ooh,
yeah,
elbow.
But so like
hard elbow shot.
Even the the little legend segment they had on the stream at the beginning of the show was originally supposed to be, I guess, an intermission event. But
because for all of you watching, there was a little. They had a segment with Ric Flair and
Road Warrior
Animal before the show began, and
yeah, and I guess that was supposed to be intermission or like leading into that or following it. But I guess because they had to just kind of. They had the stream on, and they couldn't just leave a blank thing, so they just pushed that to the beginning.
Yeah. First time seeing Masato Tanaka. I regret not meeting Tanaka. Tanaka and Muta are my two big regrets of not meeting at that show. We kind of well hit all the bases of the Japanese talent except for them, and then Sho and Yo, which I just wasn't a big Sho and Yo fan at the time, and then like. Show has this tremendous best of Super Juniors like later
Like
that year,
like
and
3 months later.
I'm
Yeah.
like, well, damn. A funny story about Show a Ring of Honor show in Collinsville, Illinois, suburban St. Louis. Had both of them when they were on excursion, and also had a young, still alien-looking but pre-knife perverted Jay White on the show. So, yeah, that's my claim to fame. Is I got to see all that talent when they were on excursion. So there you see it. It is Penta L0M versus Ray Phoenix in this match.
So the original plan, as they have listed, was going to be Lucha Bros versus Ares, who I'm not familiar with, and Flamita. I'm sorry. But basically, I guess what happened was they didn't arrive. Their plane didn't land until 1:20 p.m. that afternoon. They didn't clear immigration until 5 p.m. And then one of them had to be held back for a second screening. So Flamita arrived at bell time, and Ares arrived during the opening match. So I guess they just didn't have time to get in gear and prepare anything. So less than 30 minutes before the match, they just told Lucha Bros just to go out there and just call a match for 15 minutes.
Yeah, that was something very very interesting. Well, first of all, the Lucha Bros were probably booked on 1,000 different shows that weekend.
Oh yeah, this was their second of 3 shows that night.
Yeah. I think I saw Pentagon actually without a mask with a hoodie on, getting ready to leave to go to a different show the next day. But it's kind of funny because we figured that they would be I kind of figured personally because they were really this is before AEW, but I mean the Lucha Bros were really getting that underground buzz at the time, especially after All In. And now, I thought they'd be in the main event. I honestly thought the Lucha Bros versus something would be the main event. I thought they were going to main event the card, but apparently, knowing how many shows they were booked at that weekend, it explains it. Another thing that surprised me, and granted I wasn't going to do it because I'd already met them Sunday before. I remember actually telling Phoenix, I'll see you Thursday. I'm going to be at the Supershow. It's oh, yeah. So, they did not do a meet and greet, which shocked me. But I guess knowing what I know now about how many places they were booked, of course they wouldn't do a meet and greet. They had to get to another show.
And I always think that's interesting with WrestleMania weekend shows. It's you're working so many, and I just assume from a wrestler standpoint, you have to kind of, you're gonna want to do good in all of them, but I feel you have to kind of pick and choose what's the match where you're gonna put in the A effort, or where's the one you just kind of want to work safe to get to the next match later that afternoon.
Yeah, work the the proverbial house show match, or where's one where maybe you work comedy. We're gonna have this is gonna be a two-part a two-parter because this is just such a long show. But in part 2, there's gonna be a match where you definitely know that some of the talent involved took a little bit, got half a night off in that match. But that's not until part 2. But yeah, this was a match that I honestly did not expect to see. I remember something else going into this card was supposedly, allegedly, there was a shit ton of work visa issues, and earlier in the year there were a number of New Japan USA shows that had the same problem.
Yours truly spent pay-per-view money to get floor seats on.
Then it was essentially Ring of Honor with a lion mark.
I called it No Japan Pro Wrestling.
And we're not going to mention any names that might have had something to do with it. But I remember at least the New Japan shows. But like I was kind of wondering, like okay, so was there actually visa issues or did someone fuck up?
From my side, I heard a little bit of both, or more so, uh, the American independent wrestling promoter that put a lot of this together, that like offered to put these like New Japan house shows on in America. I think he held off a little late, but also I don't think like by the end of the year he was expecting the travel issues to happen when like how they did.
Right.
So you could give a little bit of both. But yeah, I feel like if you're wanting to book American or New Japan talent, that should have probably been taken care of like months, even before like the shows were announced.
Yeah, like if you're gonna do like, I don't know if I'm gonna get to do that. I'm wanting to go to Japan in 2023 because, good Lord willing, the world will be somewhat back to normal back then. I'll be allowed to travel. Who knows? That the world might be on fire. There may not be wrestling in 2023, but who knows? I'm not jinxing it. But I am getting I'm looking into how do I get a passport? What do I need to know to travel to Japan now? And
Actually,
it's a year and a half out from that.
Here, actually, no, let me give you a tidbit or some advice, because I just learned this myself, and I was going to message this to you in private, but might as well for the world to hear. Have you ever heard of the YouTuber Abroad in Japan?
No, I have not.
Okay, he's this British dude that lives in Japan, and he just has a channel just exploring Japan and like all these other different things, and also just has advice for people that want to travel or live there. And I just was kind of just had his videos on while in the background as I was working, and one of them was like about Christmas time in Japan. And he talked about if you're wanting to like stay in the holidays in Japan. Okay. And basically he just talked about how he doesn't recommend it because pretty much after Christmas, banks are closed, a lot of travel is closed, and also could be for people who like live there, but even like ATMs and stuff are closed. And he specifically said the times not to travel in Japan or the times to avoid in Japan are December 26th to January 5th.
Wow.
And I was like, as a New Japan wrestling fan, I guess you're kind of fucked.
So is he like, is there no travel? Like, can you not
Well,
fly?
I guess a lot of them are closed or on holiday hours.
Gotcha.
So I'm guessing that also that could be the benefit of doing something like Wrestle Travel, where they get a lot of that is like handled for you.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I guess, yeah, if you're going like in blind, like to a whole new country during the holidays where a lot of stuff is closed, that might.
Yeah, hopefully, hopefully the shops aren't closed. Hopefully, I can still buy food.
Yeah. But I actually heard the best this is something I'm considering the best time in general, like to go, like for an American to go to Japan, is the spring, like when the sakura blossoms bloom or the cherry blossoms.
Genesis.
Yeah, because like also like the weather-wise, it's the safest. You have all the pretty scenery, and apparently that's when flights to Japan are the cheapest.
Gotcha.
So like that's also something I considered. Like, if Wrestle Kingdom doesn't work, maybe I can try like a Sakura Genesis tour someday.
I think with Wrestle Travel, maybe we'll be okay. But
yeah,
I don't know. I feel like as disenfranchised with the New Japan Prox I am now, like the Dome is still like
agreed.
The last like big bucket list thing for me to do. Like there's the Dome, and then like at this point almost like with how it's been during the pandemic, like I got to go to Daly's place once. Yeah.
But, I'm almost considering going in for Double or Nothing weekend, because also apparently the go home show for Double or Nothing, that Dynamite, is going to be delayed to that Friday as opposed to Wednesday due to NBA playoffs.
Another reason to hate the sport of basketball, but go on.
True, but I'm just thinking. So like, I'm like, oh, that could actually be a good weekend then, because they'll be doing a live. The go home show will be a live show in dailies that Friday. Then then you got Saturday. Then you got Double or Nothing Sunday.
Yeah, dating
So
this
I'm like,
just
oh,
dating this recording ever so slightly, but it's all good. So one thing, just gonna kind of to put how I say this really explain like the weekend. So we both. How long was the flight from your neck of the woods to New Jersey?
uh, not that long. I want to say 2 to 3 hours, maybe.
That's yeah, same for me, and it was
Yeah.
yeah. This was my first time flying was to go on this trip, and I remember I just was so I found it hilarious because I still to this day the longest trip I've taken for wrestling was all in and all out in Chicago, and I live in the same state as Chicago. Granted, I'm in the southern part of southern Illinois, which apparently, according to anybody asked, if you're, Illinois, Chicago, right? No. So, but I remember just laughing getting off
Oh,
that plane. Ooh, that is a hell of a bump, but damn. This is a better match than I remember it being. Like, I mean, you come to expect that from Pentagon and Phoenix, but still, like,
yeah,
I remember this match. I'm watching it again. I'm like, it was a better match than that, but like with
yeah,
everything I'd kind of seen that weekend, it really wasn't quite as a. It didn't wasn't as big of a blip on the radar
yeah,
compared to some of the other things we've seen, and quite a few of those better matches actually were in at WrestleMania for me
yeah.
personally.
And also, and the fact that with what the last minute changes that they had to do, and that they're just calling this like in the ring, I think that just makes it even more impressive.
Right? Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But I remember making the joke like it took me less time to fly to New York than it did to drive to Chicago, and I'm like, well, I guess flying's great,
And
But
hey, at least you did. At least you did not like get sick and throw up on the plane like right before you landed.
no, I did. I remember though. I got my air thing was broke on.
Ooh,
Yeah, so like I was getting really really hot, and like I was beginning to not feel great. Like I was like fixing to get there. I was like sweating. I was sweating bullets, and eventually like we landed. And by the time like I stepped out and got fresh air, I'm like, whoo, I'm good. But the sad thing was oh,
ooh,
there's a match.
yeah.
Damn, that was good, but not taking anything away from that great spot and match we just saw. But the at an earlier Glory Pro show, I believe it was in January, there was a guy there who had legitimate Japanese merchandise, and I bought a really nice New Japan jacket, like a hooded jacket.
Nice.
And I wore that on the plane thinking like, okay, like I'm not gonna like I'll be able to wear this all day, and I wanted to wear that jacket in my picture with Liger, but I'd sweat so much sitting there, like I'm like I can't wear this. Like, I can't wear this. I can't wear anything. So I ended up like for my picture with Liger, I had to change into a Deadpool hoodie and the a Tyler Black T-shirt that I bought from the pre-Seth Rollins Tyler Black that I wore I brought just to troll our friend who hates Seth Rollins. So I brought that Tyler Black shirt. I'm like, well, I'm just gonna wear this shirt now because it's like the next logical one for me to wear right now. So in my picture with Liger, I'm wearing a Tyler Black shirt and a Deadpool hoodie when I really wanted to be wearing like I had some other related shirt and a New Japan hoodie, and I really wanted to wear that, but alas, I sweat through everything, and I'm like, you guys are gonna be cursing me with how much I sweat, so let's wash this, and I'll wear it I'll wear it tomorrow, and I'll wear it to the garden, and I did get to do that, so that was nice at least. So this is an interesting match coming up, just because we unknowingly saw the precursor to the Inner Circle at this show. Because I was not familiar with Impact really at all at this point. I mean, I knew like maybe a couple wrestlers, but I didn't really know anything about Impact. Still not super duper familiar with the lucha scene. I know I have one of my normal chatters in my live stream. She lives in Mexico and knows quite a bit about the lucha wrestlers and what's going on in lucha wrestling. But me, like, they're of all the wrestling I watch, I guess just as much as I enjoy it, Mexican wrestling's just not the one I can find the time for.
Yeah.
But like, so this was a match where there was just I was unfamiliar with the majority of the talent in this match. Like, this was truly like, well, who's that? Like, when I saw LAX, I honestly thought like, oh, Homicide Hernandez? Like that's what I think of when I think LAX is still Homicide Hernandez. Are you familiar with this wrestler right here? Because I'm sorry to say, am not still.
Yeah, I'm not too sure myself, and I'm just wondering what they just all of a sudden are using like an 80s playlist for the themes all of a sudden.
Oh, okay. Well, I see. I've turned mine down a little bit, so you're hearing. What music?
Cuba King was Shot Through the Heart, and Samantha here has Don't Stop Believing.
Okay, well, I'm sure we were like, what's the equivalent? It's not like indie show karaoke. It's not carpool karaoke, but I'm sure we were singing. Speaking of singing, this I don't know when I'm going to be able to tell this story again, but we decided to sing American Males in the middle of Times Square. It's in a vlog. You can check it out. It's on the channel. DJZ. Now, I didn't know who DJZ was. He was somebody else that made his way to Glory Pro and St. Louis Anarchy quite a bit throughout the shows I went to in 2018. I believe DJZ was at, I don't want to say the majority, but he was at quite a number of them. So this is one guy I did. I was at least like, okay, hey, it's somebody I know. I am happy about this. Yes. And I was wondering if they were gonna do the in the middle of the matches, and I think here's somebody I think we all know.
Yes.
Okay, that's my third Japanese guy I didn't get to meet that I wanted to, but I just could not manage to find him at the at his table at WrestleCon. Muda, I tapped out.
I know something's not right about a clean-shaven Tajiri.
You are absolutely right. It feels weird, but now, Tajiri and William Regal together, I feel, is not as appreciated as it should be.
It's not, no. It's like everyone wants to do Regal and Eugene, which was fun, but like the precursor to that was Regal and Tajiri.
Absolutely, and yeah. Actually, like kind of going back, I mentioned Liger and Tanaka. Tajiri's also up there, along and Taka, were some like these are the Japanese guys that I first became familiar with. But there's a Sammy Guevara before I knew who Sammy Guevara was.
It's just been like, who's this asshole?
He's like, he got a really punchable face and a panda on his dick. But like going back, like when I was a kid, like I knew I knew Liger. Liger was like would come in very like semi regularly, but he was still like they'd say like, hey, he's not here all the time because he's wrestling in Japan. So like I kind of felt like Liger was like an attraction, and he's not like he's a Japan guy, not a WCW guy. Whereas
Yeah.
like and to a lesser extent Tanaka, because Joey Styles was on commentary and a middle finger. Okay, um, Joey Styles would say that quite a bit about Tanaka being an FMW guy. And there's LAX, and that's Santana and Ortiz, and not and not who I thought it was, and Evilise. But like to me, like Taka and Tajiri, like to me, they were Japanese guys that wrestled in America.
Yeah.
Unlike Tanaka and Liger, who are like, they're Japanese guests, I guess is the way like I felt as a 7, 8, 9-year-old kid. But yeah, and I was not familiar with any of any of the people on this team. But
although a few more people were going to be a part of this match. Let's see. On the Tajiri, DJZ, Puma King side, Ultimo Dragon was originally going to be like a part of that team as well.
Damn it!
Yeah, and then on the
I still never got to see Ultimo wrestle, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, and then on the other side was going to be, I believe, was it Black Torres, the guy with the bull like masks.
Okay.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Dragon had a flight delay, and Torres his was rerouted to Baltimore, and he didn't arrive till mid-show. But yeah, that's unfortunate because Tajiri and Dragon were going to be were kind of like the backup surprises for the Dragon Gate wrestlers not being able to make it.
Right, 'cause that was like a big part of the whole Visa thing. Is like Pac was booked on like 1,000 shows. Like he was doing Lucha Bros level of work, that weekend, and he just had visa issues from the UK. Now you mentioned Ultimo Dragon. Now correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Ultimo wrestle on a different show that you attended than I did?
Yes, I saw him the following night on the Penis Party in the King of the Jungle match, which had can't remember everybody. It was pretty much anyone with like an animal gimmick, as it also featured like Shark Boy, Puma King, pretty much any other wrestler or lucha guy with like an animal mask or gimmick.
The WrestleCon Penis Party and nothing else.
Yes, not associated with any other wrestlers.
Nope. But I'm trying to contemplate how many beers I was in at this point in time during the show. It wasn't as many as one might think because the beers were $10, and that's a lot of money for a beer.
Yeah.
Until I went to the Barclays Center later on. Then I really found out how much a lot of money for a beer was.
Honestly, I feel like next time, just getting a hotel room on the WrestleCon premises, just so that you can bring your cooler. I feel like you kind of make your money back with what you save.
Yeah. I mean, I could have met a couple more people had I got all my beer money back. And had I not allowed myself to buy too many CDs from the Street Corner Hustlers. Real talk, I wanted to buy one. Because I'd always heard everybody there's these guys, they're always on the street corner, they'll be trying to push their music, they'll give you a quote-unquote free CD and then expect you to pay them. And there was one guy, and I'm like, okay, here's my guy. Here's my one. Because I want to make a video about it. Okay, here's this guy. Let's make a video. Let's listen to his music and see if he's any good. But then I just got swarmed. They're here's mine. And then they're And it's like it's hard for you not to pay, and it's like, well, I just lost a lot of money on with my intention of buying one CD. I end up buying like five, and the $10 I lost on that, I lost like 50 buying all these CDs, and you know, so I spent probably $50 there, and probably somewhere between $30 and $60 on beers at this thing. So
Ooh.
with the money, yeah, with the money that I wasted on rap music and debauchery, I could have met Scott Hall. I could have met lots of people. But truth be told, with all the people I ended up meeting, and with all the lines and all the hustle and bustle, I feel like, other than like maybe a couple of other folks, there wasn't had I caught Tajiri, had I been able to make it through Muda's line, pretty well hit everybody I wanted to hit except
Yeah.
for Flair, who I just need to get his like last signature on the big Horseman poster everybody sees on the live stream. But like, other than Flair and would have been cool to get Hall, because of the Hodson piece I bought for Shawn Michaels. At this con, I pretty well got everybody I wanted to get. What about you? Like, we haven't really gotten we went on the All In episodes, we went in full detail about everything we did for StarCast, and as much of a clusterfuck as StarCast was compared to WrestleCon, there was a lot of interest. WrestleCon was either you go to a show or you kind of go meet somebody. There was no eat and greets. There was no put Ric Flair's robe on. There was no pose, do a promo with Tony. There wasn't any of that. So, what old people were you kind of after to meet at WrestleCon? We met a couple together, but I also know we split off a couple times. What was your WrestleCon weekend like?
Okay. Well, I think like the one for me, like that was like separated for you guys, was Jesse Ventura.
Right.
As like he never does conventions. It feels like I felt like the only way you could go see him was if he was doing like a book tour for like one of his politics books or something like that. That's not quite the same experience.
Not quite the same experience, and like there's a 50-50 chance you may not be around the crowd of people you want to be around.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Like, and I'm not like knocking anybody who political ideologies, but I'm just saying like a political crowd is not my scene, no matter what you're thinking. A wrestling crowd is. So,
and like that was one where I tried to get there as early as possible.
Oh, same. Because I was doing Sean that day.
Yeah. Yeah, because it was at the same time, and I was like, I wanted a photo and to sign something, so it would have made more sense to not do the professional photo op.
Right.
Which, in retrospect, I feel like if you actually want time with a wrestler, you're better off just going to the table. I've noticed.
Yes.
Yeah.
To me, the only way I'll do is here's a commentary on conventions here. But the only way I'll ever do a professional photo op is, hey, they're not doing selfies at the table. Yeah. Fuck, okay. Like, when I met Chris Jericho back in 2014, we had a great conversation at his table talking about he mentioned the Nitro Dance in his book, and his word for word quote was, "If you've never seen the Nitro Dance and want to see what it is, if you ever meet me, just ask me, and I'll do the Nitro Dance for you." So I wanted to do that, and then I was cosplaying as Joker, so we had like a good five-ish minute conversation about favorite Jokers.
Yeah.
At his table.
But with Ventura, they were like, get there early, get in line. You it is going to be like a huge line, so you don't want to miss out. And then so I got there, and there was like 5 people in line, which surprised me. Actually, I think like I may have been the second, or at least the second group or the second person for the line, which surprised me. And then, hilariously enough, he showed up like 30 minutes early to start the signing. So I got like done by the time so I was
Right.
done with it by the time the signing was supposed to start.
Right. Um, Going back to my Jared, but like, so I got like all this time at this table, but it was a Wizard World convention, and a lot of Wizard World conventions, selfies are not allowed. I think the policy might have changed, but at that time, only a couple celebs did selfies. Everybody else was pro photo ops only. So I got the pro photo op because that's the only way I was going to get a picture with Jericho. It was a cool picture, and I liked the picture that I got with Jericho. Like it's me, my buddy, and Jericho doing the Nitro dance. And my buddy's cosplaying as Orgasmo, but made a Jericho personal security Ralphus shirt to wear over it for that picture.
Nice.
So that's great. And then like a year later at Wizard World Chicago, like that was the only way I was gonna get to meet Taker was, getting the pro photo, and like we made the most out of the 5 seconds we got with Taker. Like he was cool, but it was just compare that to like. And I guess it is different circumstances because of different. Compare that to like when I've met Cody at Starcaster Ring of Honor, or Kenny at Pro Wrestling Tees, or when I've gotten to meet just various other wrestlers. Got to meet Darby Allin at a convention. Got to meet Sammy Guevara at this, and you get a lot of time to actually talk to them, and it's like, or not a lot of time, but you get enough time to like maybe ask one question, or have a small spin-off conversation about, you're wearing a Joker costume.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's your favorite Joker? Or that's a really neat shirt. It's like Stan Lee, but it's like the movie Up. Yeah. That's cool. You get like that kind of small. Or in the case of Darby Allin, asking him about chugging a bottle of blazing sauce and how it felt, and him being very candid, going, "It really sucked. I had to go into the bathroom and hold my head under cold water." Apropos, like of just like I didn't know who Sammy Guevara was at the time, but he the one thing I've always said about Sammy is he's got a really punchable face, and even when he's being nice, he looks like he's a dick. Yeah. And who would have thought that he's on the verge of becoming, at the time of this recording, potentially one of the biggest baby faces in pro wrestling?
Oh God, yeah, that's true.
Because I mentioned, like, I actually, even in 2020, I managed to keep my convention streak going with a small convention that Sammy was booked at. They booked, yes, it was COVID, but like masks were required. They were doing temperature checks. They did about as good as they could do at a convention, And Sammy was having like a really nice conversation with this special needs kid, and he was really sincere, and he was a really nice guy. But I just couldn't help like notice when he's having this conversation, he's being the nicest guy in the world, but he's got this. Still got this douchebag face going on. It's just like, if you didn't know any better, you'd think he was being sarcastic, but he's not. That's just his face.
That's very accurate to put. No, I know you mentioned Jericho earlier, and like right before COVID hit, there was going to be a Fozzy concert in my location, and I was considering going again, like the VIP. But the most important thing, though, I needed someone to go with me, because I realized, oh, well, if I'm going to, like, pay for a photo with Fozzy, I need to have someone, like bring a friend, so then we could just be on, like, on both sides of Jericho. So then when I, like, go to post a photo, I can just crop the rest of the band out.
Hey, now, Fozzy seems like nice guys.
No, I like Fozzy. They're all right, but it's more like you're paying for the photo with Jericho.
True.
So if you're posting if you're posting on social media, you want to be like, hey, here's me, or here's me, my friend Chris Jericho. You don't want to be like, here's me, Chris Jericho, and like 4 other dudes.
It's funny, and maybe I should have put this as part of the cover photo. It's kind of like when the next day when we met Ultimo Dragon, Dragon is on the outside of me, and in the between us is Sonny Ono. And it's like, well, we kind of just paid for Ultimo Dragon, but cool, Sonny Ono. And
Yeah.
Sonny Ono also, I got, it was a dual autograph, but like the picture I chose, they had some of Sonny and Ultimo Dragon, but the picture I wanted is because it's the iconic badass picture of Ultimo. Oh shit! What's the J doing? With the J Crown title, which when he literally held every junior heavyweight title in Japan, plus the WCW Cruiserweight title. It wasn't part of the J Crown, but he held it. So I wanted that picture just because I'm like, that's just a badass picture. But like Sonny Ono is just like, I can, like, hey, both our signature included is cool. Like I'll sign that too for you. And I'm like, okay, so Sonny Ono has weaseled his way into a prominent spot in my like office where I stream because his signature is also on the Ultimo Dragon picture that I got.
Well, going by Joey Janela, Sonny Ono's pretty good at weaseling his way into shit.
Yeah, nope. He was a nice guy. I don't want to talk too much.
No, he was.
I've
heard like good experiences like meeting him, but yeah, I guess just as an agent for international talent, I can kind of see where that kind of comes in.
He makes sure that Sonny's taken care of too, which I guess, I mean,
even if he's a part of the negotiation or not,
right? But yeah, so it's kind of that whole thing just reminded me of us meeting Sonny Ono. I pulled up the picture on my phone, still got it. It's like, yep, there's Sonny Ono right between me and you, and there's Ultimo Dragon on the outskirts. There's Ultimo Dragon looking confused while Sonny Ono is taking a good picture with us. I'm sending the picture to you right now as we speak, so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So okay, so you mentioned Flamita was supposed to be in a match earlier, so I'm guessing, as we're seeing here on the match graphic, Flamita and Ares, they're
Sorry, I just saw the photo.
Yeah. There's gonna be there's no way to put this on there now. Maybe when this drops, I'll post a picture on the social media pages so you can see. But yeah, there's Sonny Ono hustled his way to be kind of the star of the photo a little bit more than Ultimo Dragon. So yeah, I'm guessing these guys now got there and do you know what this match was originally supposed to be with Robbie Eagles?
The original match was going to be Lucky Kid versus Robbie Eagles, but I guess Lucky was concussed at the WXW show like before this event.
Gotcha.
And apparently they sent High Spot sent a text to A Kid and Carlos Romo, who had been trying to get a spot on the show, and they offered offering to do a tag match between those two against Eagles and Chase Owen. But the text never got through, so they just did an impromptu three-way with Eagles and the Lucha Brothers opponents that didn't make it earlier.
At this point in time, if they would have done that match with Chase Owens, that would have been Markout Central for
Agreed. Yeah,
our former boy. But we're just going to leave it at that.
Oh, just wait! I got another.
I'm done speaking out about that.
You won't, but you won't be. I'll have another story for later, a similar one.
Oh no!
For a match that almost happened.
So Robbie Eagles at this point for me was kind of like I was familiar with him, but like I didn't really. I was familiar, but like I couldn't call myself a fan. Does that make sense? That's not like I disliked him, but like it'd be like, okay, I just and even now, like I appreciate his ability. He's a great wrestler, but he's just I don't know. Like I don't dislike Robbie Eagles, but
Could it
there's
be the
just
Osprey Association?
not even that, honestly. It's just kind of there are some. Here's a full on tangent to just about anything related to wrestling. There are like some wrestlers that's like I like their wrestling ability, but there's just sometimes where it's like, but I'm not connecting. Like I just don't
Yeah.
connect. Like and to me, like one of the biggest example of that right now is babyface John Moxley. It's like I appreciate the hell out of the guy, but there's just something there where I'm just like, okay, like neat. Okay. Like I'm not so cynical about it. I'm like, fuck this motherfucker, I don't like him, so nobody else should like him. Why are they pushing him despite the fact that he's the highest drawing guy on the fucking show? I don't like him. Like I'm not one of those fans, but I'm just kinda like okay, okay. John Moxley's in the main event. Like, I understand this. Like, that's kind of how I see it. It's like this will be a good match, and I understand why. But there's no like elevated levels of excitement for John Moxley.
Yeah.
Now,
It's like, no, I know how you. Oh,
now when he's a heel, there's lots of elevated levels of excitement for John Moxley. But you know, I understand that that's not a smart decision to do with John Moxley right now. Like, I recognize wrestling's bigger than my taste, but I've been accused on that's a hell of a roll up right there. I've been accused on Twitter of like being a Moxley hater, and that's not the case. It's just like I'm just not connecting with good guy John Moxley. Like that's just not. There's just something missing there. Respect the hell out of him. He's a great wrestler. I'd go so far as to say like as far as like total package of wrestling skill and drawing power. You know, he's the top wrestler in the world right now. But I'm just, you know.
No, I got you. Yeah.
I feel kind of very similar about him as I do Okada. You know, fucking great wrestler, but there's just kind of like there's something there that just missing that makes me not as excited about him.
Could it be like a top babyface sort of thing?
I don't know about that because I love Tanahashi.
That's fair.
You know.
Yeah.
And it's not even like top babyface. It's just I feel like my loss of interest in Moxley kind of began with kind of like when he got like overshadowed, and this isn't his fault. Like this is kind of like a lot of the reasons like that I'm kind of not connecting with Moxley. Like I had friends like, well, this ain't his fault, but blank, you know.
No, just admit it. You missed the gas mask.
I missed.
You missed
what?
the gas mask. You missed his like late 2018 heel run.
Oh yeah,
you're a fan of the smelly Mox.
Yeah, that was gold right there. No, like, because I remember like around the time and this was actually whoa, hell of a move there. This was around the time of your first WrestleMania. This was when like we were getting ready to like, arguably the worst WrestleMania of all time, when you had babyface Roman Reigns that nobody fucking wanted to see against WWE Champion Triple H that nobody wanted to see, and then you had Dean Ambrose at the time, like, wasting his time in a bad match with Brock Lesnar. I will be a Brock Lesnar apologist, but on that particular evening, I can tell you I have nothing. So I got no argument. Anybody that hates Brock Lesnar that goes by that match, you are absolutely correct. But like at that time, I was like really big in the why aren't they putting the belt on Dean? He's the more if you want a top baby face, Dean Ambrose is your top baby face. Do it. And he got the belt, and I'm like, I was excited, but then like at the same time, I'm like, oh, well, you have AJ Styles being fucking the best wrestler in the world right now, opposite Dean Ambrose. And then, like, as soon as he got the belt, like, the only other thing in my head is, when are you going to put the belt on AJ? Because, like, AJ's the fucking best right now. And then they did, and it was just like after that, I'm like, well, no fault of his own. You know, it's not like Dean Ambrose. It's not like it was Dean Ambrose's fault that AJ came into WWE and was, like, no pun intended, phenomenal. But Like ever since then, I'm just kind of like, okay, Dean Ambrose, John Moxley in the top babyface role is just like, for me, there's just no connection. He's better as John Moxley in AEW, absolutely in that role, but it's just still there's something not computing. There's something that I'm not totally buying into. It's like it's like Iron Man in comics. Like I don't dislike Iron Man, but like I'm not one of the legions of fans going OMG Tony Stark, OMG Iron Man, best thing ever Iron Man Tony. I'm not that guy. On the flip side of things, I really wish he would have at least been on the card at WrestleMania. That sucked that he was just off the card.
Oh, for New York?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know he made no bones about the fact apparently that he wanted to leave, but
but then they had to write him off 10 different times.
Exactly. For the love of God, put him in the damn Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal at least. At least. But I digress. This is what I meant by we're going to go off on a bunch of tangents during matches.
Yeah.
Because I don't know when we're going to talk about.
I don't even remember this match happening.
I remember seeing Robbie Eagles because I remember that's about it. Cause I remember seeing Robbie Eagles because he was like, "Oh hey, guy I know." That was just kind of my thoughts was guy I know in match. But yeah, I would hazard a guess that I was at a gimmick table or the cash bar. I mean, I'm looking at this building and I'm thinking oh, there's where we entered, there's the exit, and then from there's where the escalators were and all that fun stuff. So I'm refamiliarizing myself with the venue. Fuck, I was just hell yeah, that was cool.
Right?
And that ended. Congratulations, Robbie Eagles. I talk about how unfamiliar I am with you, and I spent...
another match better than I remember.
Match better than I remember, but...
I remember at all.
But I spent your entire match talking about why I'm just not on the John Moxley bandwagon. So congratulations, John Moxley. I spent a whole match that you weren't even in talking about you, so I guess I don't hate you. So you can please quit spamming me with this hate Twitter about, are you fucking stupid? Why do you not like John Moxley? Oh, here we go. So that was the match that led into intermission when we were there. And we come back from intermission, and I see Revolt. And I say, I don't know who these people are, but Charloco here is marking out and fist pumping.
Yes.
Tell us about the Revolt.
All right, the Revolt. These are 3 wrestlers in the North Carolina Southern wrestling scene, specifically Charlotte. They were all, actually, I think only one of them is still a High Spots employee.
Part of this is a fresh take at this point because one of them literally just quit.
One of them just quit, and the other, I don't know if he's still involved or not, but he, Jake Manning, as you see there, he just recently left High Spot, and the larger one, Zane Riley. I keep wanting to say Brian Zane, but
tangent. We met Brian Zane right before this show.
Yeah. Brian Zane Riley. There we go. Brian Zane, Sammy Riley.
I was actually kind of wondering if Brian Zane was going to be on this show as a manager, but go on. We're taking away from the Revolt.
He's the heavier one. He's actually involved with Heels, starring Stephen
Amell. Yes.
Yeah, Stephen Amell. That's coming. That's debuting in August.
And if something doesn't happen, Jake Manning will call bullshit on that entire show. Have you seen those tweets? This is a mark I'm getting to see the Hurricane because he was a WWE employee at this time. At this time, yeah, he was an agent. But we're gonna keep forgetting about the revolt. So finish talking about the revolt, and I'll like insert my what I'm feeling.
Okay, so you got Man Scout, Jake Manning, Zane Riley. Yeah, he almost did it again. And Caleb Conley, or you might know as Caleb with a K on Impact Wrestling.
Yes. So okay.
Yeah.
So like those were those guys. I recognize Man Scout from Fight Out Wrestling, X-pac, which was really cool. So, apparently, fun tidbit. This ended up being X-pac's last match.
Oh, didn't know that. And actually, if you notice here, there is a delay for his entrance. Because apparently, X-pac, X-pac was not happy at them playing the DX music.
Really?
Yeah, because I guess with it being his Hall of Fame weekend, he didn't want to be a part of an indie show that was using WWE licensed music and possibly pissing them off. So like he was like yelling at them, and I guess like they apologized for it. But yeah, there was like that's why it took like a few seconds for X-pac to come out.
Okay, I said it looks like he looks like he's a little annoyed, but now he's putting the smile on.
Yeah.
I just want to point this out for the record. I know like last year we were talking about all this. X-pac is like one of the coolest dudes in the world. Like now that he's like got his life together, X-pac is cool as fuck. Met X-pac, did the eat and greet with X-pac, which was awesome. And then met him at another Glory Pro show where he didn't remember me personally, but he remembered like the eat and greet itself. And he's like, "Oh yeah, that was really cool. There's like a guy from the UK there and Russia, and like so we like talked about that event." And here was the big mark out moment of the night.
That Liger pop.
Yes, it is.
He's the Liger of the gimmick table.
So like we always knew that Liger was going to be on the show, obviously, because we met him earlier in the night, but didn't know where it was going to be. But yes, this was. And I'll say this. No, go ahead.
I was going to say so far this has been the only match on paper that like actually happened as planned.
Really?
Yeah, like everything else had something that changed. So far, this was like the only match that like that was penciled in. That like.
That's very interesting because spoiler alert. At the very end of this match, Shane Helms is going to say that he had to beg for permission from WWE to do this match. So when he said that, I always assumed that Hurricane was a last minute replacement for somebody. Because also, if you remember about WrestleCon, I don't remember. And this will gets into some logistics that I will know nothing about. But Hurricane was supposed to be a guest, got pulled off when he became a producer. Same with Abyss, and then Tori Wilson was supposed to be there, but got pulled due to Hall of Fame. However, on the flip side, Renee Young and what's his name?
Corey Graves?
Yes! I was getting ready to say Sterling James Keenan because that was his old name in a past life, but they were current WWE employees and they were there. Tori Wilson got pulled for the Hall of Fame, yet I met Shawn Michaels there, so it's like there has to be some kind of
apparently
red tape that I'm not aware of.
Yeah, but basically, I guess what happened was, again, Liger was originally going to be a surprise. But then they announced it ahead of time, like once they knew this was going to be his retirement tour. And I think either once that happened or maybe before, but basically, Hurricane and X-pac both pretty much begged High Spots to like be booked in a match with Liger, like in one way or another. So that's where they had the idea of just making a 6-man. And I can't blame the WrestleCon people because like the High Spots wrestlers, of course, are gonna like want to book themselves against Liger because like when else would you have that chance to do something like that?
Right.
But yeah, so far this was like the only match that had not had to have like someone replaced or changed like last minute or the day of.
So I think we'll use this match to just basically talk about the whole experience of meeting Jushin Thunder Liger, because this was like I got to pretty much meet two of my all-time favorite wrestlers that week. My all-time favorite wrestler, Shawn Michaels, and probably to this day my all-time favorite Japanese wrestler, Jushin Liger. And
Oh, if you heard one cheer, that might have been me. Like that's.
So yeah, I remember buying both buying the pro photo op with Liger because we're like, again, like we went on my like tangent earlier about pro photo ops. It's like I bought pro photo ops with all these like Japanese guys, thinking like, well, that's the only way I'm going to get to meet him. And then they have like real meet and greets come out. It's like, oh, okay. And like it came after the signing, so it's not like I could even have them autograph the picture. Yeah. But still, I'm not complaining.
No,
it was an insurance policy. It's like car insurance.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. But no, I got some more rant. Pro.
The AEW Sideman Scout. You owe it to yourself.
But yeah, more pro photo op rants. I actually prefer the photo that the three of us got with Liger on, I guess, one of our phones, way more than the pro photo op that I did with Liger by myself. Because another setback with pro photo ops is like, you only get the one photo taken. I feel like if you're at the gimmick table with somebody and you get like, even if you're just paid for the one photo, it's a cell phone. You can like hit it a few times. So if you have a stupid looking face in one of them, there's a good chance you won't have like, it will be gone by the time like on the next click. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, because like I paid on the Liger.
I'm in the same boat as you with both Liger and Tanahashi because I wanted to air guitar Tanahashi, but I have this like my face isn't right in the air. But then the pro photo I did with Tana the next day, and I'm like, this is cool as fuck, but I can't display it because I look like an idiot.
Same. Like I got like my face was like mid grin or like mid adjust with the Liger photo.
That was me and Tanahashi.
Yeah, so whenever I share like photos from that weekend, I just go to the photos with like the three of us with Liger.
And that was like, and like my Liger photo wasn't bad, but like I wasn't okay. So like the picture he's doing is like he has like his hands and he's like kind of like gripping his fingers in slightly but not making a fist, like feel the power, and I wanted to do that with him, but they got me too early. So it looks like I'm doing Booker T, 5-time WCW champion right next to him. So I'm like, okay, and then not to mention, I wanted to have this like cool New Japan shirt on. I'm wearing like a fucking Deadpool hoodie and a Tyler Black shirt in that picture. I'm like, oh, that's not what I wanted to wear.
But in 2016, I did a Muda photo op at the Dallas WrestleCon, and it was cool, and it's a good photo. But it's one of those things where it's like, should have like one of those things where I should have just double checked before, because it was me, my brother, and Muda together, and I should have double checked or like, okay, what are we doing? Because it was a very quick photo. So then I look at it, and it's like, Muda's doing the thumb through the throat, the thumb on the throat. My brother's doing the thumb on the throat, and I'm doing like the mist, the mist pose, or where he has his fingers up for the mist.
Right.
So I was like, damn, I should have I guess just looked over to them just to see, that to see the pose they were doing.
Right. Had lots of. I might be doing more episodes where I talk about cons, so not getting swindled out of anything conventions, but
well, sometimes both.
Sometimes both. Well, no, but once with Wizard World, and I'll go on a whole rant about that one. But Wizard World Chicago 2015. I'm sure I've mentioned that like on the live stream on many of the tangents, but my photo op with Tanahashi, like I have the weird look on my face, and I'm like doing the air guitar, and I'm like, oh, I look stupid. But then I do the selfie picture, and other than part of my cord from my pocket charger kind of sticking out of my hoodie pocket, the New Japan hoodie I wanted to wear with Liger. Other than that, it's a much better picture. Got his arm around me. We're both doing the Go Ace Tanahashi, hand gesture. It's like, wow, that looks so much better. Just being simple. But here I am looking like I've ate something sour in this air guitar pose for the pro photo op, and I'm like, I look like an idiot and I'm stupid. All right, Jake is
dance off here.
I think it is safe to say that the Hurricane got served.
Oh. And also, I think during this match, I was like just taking photos of the ring and just like messaging all my fellow local Charlotte wrestling fans and just being like, holy fuck, look at these guys in the ring with Liger. Like just being like, oh, the guys we just see like just walking around town.
Right.
I just kind of like normal people, and they're like, holy shit.
One that you kind of see at the gym regularly now. Oh shit. I just remembered the shirt I wanted to wear to the show was my Besties in the World shirt because I knew they were around. And I thought like, well, maybe they'll get booked on the show. They were going to be booked on a few shows. And I'm like, when I heard this thing was getting all plunged into chaos, that, hey, maybe they'll be on this one. So I wanted to support the Besties in the World. So I guess it ended up being fine that I wore Tyler Black because, the Besties weren't there, but still. But what's cool with Liger is I bought...
Oh, that's a good bump.
Yes, it is. I brought a friend of mine, he's artist Matt Miller. When he gets booked for like comic shops on like Free Comic Book Day or Batman Day, one of the things he does is free sketch. Oh yes, Man Scott's got to consult the book. Got to. Is there a chapter in it for Liger? Oh, okay. That was the Hurricanes chapter. I'm gonna miss Jake Manning. I just realized how much I'm really gonna miss Jake Manning now on the virtual gimmick table. But I couldn't think of any like superheroes at once, so I'm like, hey, can you draw Jushin Liger for me? And he like, he watched wrestling in the '90s. He's like, oh yeah, I love Liger. He's great. He drew Liger for me, and I remember bringing that with me to get signed. But then at this table, they had this really cool Liger picture. I'm like, okay, I gotta buy two because that's just way too cool of a picture to pass up on. I believe you got the same picture. If I'm not mistaken.
Which one?
It's like three different pictures of Liger, on the 1/8x10. But the one that's displayed prominently on the live stream is the one that Matt drew for me. And one of the things I remember the most, the one thing I shared with Matt when I saw him again, and I texted him a picture of the signature was Liger sees the drawing, he just goes, beautiful! And I'm like, fuck yeah, man. But I remember, I gotta save some stories for part two because the other folks that I met at the pre-show meet and greet, well, they're all wrestling on part two. So I'll save some of those stories, but one thing I don't know when we're going to get the chance to really talk about this again, so we'll talk a little bit about Madison Square Garden, is WrestleCon booked Liger better than Ring of Honor did for the Garden.
Well, you could say the same about
Minoru Suzuki
and Tanahashi.
Tanahashi, I understood a little bit, but I still, and I'll stand by this. And I know all the people on Twitter say that I hate Switchblade, and I'm like, well, I wouldn't say I hate him, but I do not like him in most conceivable ways. Tanahashi should have been the champion going into that show. I'll stand by that. Like, yeah.
That's what we can go way into more in a future show about.
Yeah.
I don't know,
but here's the thing. Like, I don't know if I want to relive that show. Like,
that is fair.
Here's my tangents. Like, yes, the Elite left, and yes, most of the people in that building bought that ticket thinking they were going to get to see All In Part 2 with the Elite, and it didn't happen. But it's like, that show could have been salvaged, but just, it wasn't. The show that I think collectively we were all looking forward to the most, I would go. I went to 5 shows that week, and I'd say that it probably wasn't the last show, but I'd say it's second to last as far as like quality. I thought WrestleMania was better.
Honestly, I agree with that.
I think like the only show that I liked less than that, and it wasn't so much because it was a bad show, is because I missed half of it because I had to get to Brooklyn for Takeover, was Rev Pro, which even then I think the only reason like we really I went to that show to see Suzuki, and I did.
Yeah.
But like the Madison Square Garden shows, like, you want to talk about letdown? Holy Jesus, was it a letdown? I don't know. Like, you're right. We could do a whole show just hyper analyzing every part of it, but like, I just want to point out for the record right now, the best thing you can come up with for Jushin Thunder Liger on a show during his retirement tour is a pre-show battle royal.
Now, he doesn't even win. I think that's the bigger part. Like, he's old.
But you don't understand. Bully Ray wanted to push his Ring of Honor guys. Yeah,
oh God. But I mean, with his age, I think he actually only worked 2 singles matches like that last year of his. So I get you probably don't want to book him in like
but not a battle royal,
too high profile match. But I feel like it's Liger. You don't give him the big moment in Madison Square Garden before he retires.
Give it like, honestly, you know what I would have done? I would have done like, I could think about rebooking this whole card. I would have done like Ishii, Goto, and Liger versus Bullet Club.
That'd have been cool. Hell, I would have been fine.
I mean, like, I know he's persona non grata now, but like, do Chase, Eagles, and fucking who else, like, I'm not gonna say Jay, because Jay probably did need a bigger match.
But no,
a bigger match, but like get another Bullet Club guy.
Yeah, or even like just like Ghetto or somebody. Like if you just need like a light heavyweight equivalent.
Yeah, Gato, yeah. Chase Gato and Eagles versus Liger and Chaos, and voila.
Yeah.
And Gato can take the fall, so Liger gets a moment in the Garden. And then you could have Jay. Jay would have been. I would have put Jay with Ospreay.
Yeah.
I put Jay with Ospreay for the Never title. I would have put or with CSJ.
Yeah. Or even if you're even not like rebooking, I feel like just if you cut down some of the Rumble participants, put that on the main show and like have Liger win. I feel like that could have been fine too,
Right. I would put I would have either put Jay with Ospreay, or I would have put I would put Jay with Ospreay, and then I would have put Cobb and CSJ together, title versus title, and then kept.
So we still like the drama for this match.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So right in the gorilla position, right behind the entrance, there was a tent. Like, I don't say pitch, but there was a tent laid out, placed all night for what was going to be the final spot of this match. I should mention the Man Scouts tent that he brings out for like spots in a lot of his matches. The final spot was going to be, or the finish of the match was going to be Liger brain busting Man Scout through the tent he had for the finish. Which, knowing WrestleMania weekend, I feel like that's something that would have gone viral because of the ridiculousness.
Yes. Similar to Ricky Morton doing a Canadian Destroyer.
Exactly. Like this could have been the Revolt's or Manning's WrestleMania weekend moment. But someone in the match, X-pac, did not want that finish in the match, and apparently he was very vocal about like nixing it.
Did he? Now, before we just make X-pac seem like a complete jerk, was his reasoning ever made public as to why he didn't like the ending of that? Didn't like that idea for a finish?
It was never made public, but apparently, X-pac and Hurricane had were pretty much doing WrestleMania Access Hall of Fame stuff commitments with WWE all pretty much that entire day. So the majority of the match was put together by Liger and the Revolt. So I think when they eventually got to when the two of them eventually got to the Hilton, I think Shane was cool with just kind of like going with whatever they had planned, and I think X-pac just like I guess probably being the biggest veteran outside of Liger in the match, didn't like not having a say in the match.
Gotcha.
Although apparently, all the Revolt eventually kind of talked with X-pac, and everything's worked out. I think also a lot of it could have just been like WrestleMania, so timing, stress, travel, trying to get all the shit in that weekend. But so trying not to just make it shit on X-pac.
Yeah, but I mean,
I just always feel like that was just a missed opportunity to not doing that finish.
Very much so. But yeah, we're gonna put a pin into part 1. We will be back next week for part 2. And yeah, we will finish the WrestleCon Super Show. We'll have a lot more great action, and a lot of great action, a lot of great talent, and Will Ospreay. And a lot more stories from the weekend, from WrestleCon itself, and who knows what else we're going to come up with. It is tangent galore, but be sure to join us next week for the conclusion. We will give you the time cue to join us in next week. But if you enjoyed this video, please give a like, share, subscribe for more content, not just from the world of pro wrestling, but from the world of gaming, anime, comic books, and all things geek culture. Follow me on my social media pages, facebook.com/athleticgeek89, Twitter @athletic_geek89, Instagram @athleticgeek89, and I am on Patreon, patreon.com/athleticgeek89. Charloco, do you have public social media yet?
No, I meant to like 6 months ago, but we'll see again in another 6 months.
Yeah. It is like the debut of Emelina with your public social media. But we will see you guys for part 2 next week. Have a good one.
See you then.